Have you ever had a coworker who lived a secret life? He wasn't really a coworker and I was in on the secret, but he led a double life, nonetheless. So, my friend and I were in high school together. We liked to smoke grass. The grass wasn't as cheap as we would like. One day, he informed me that he had taken some seeds from a bag of grass and germinated them. A few months later, with some TLC, we were planting them out back in his yard. He was the one who took care of the yard, and his mom never went out there. Shortly thereafter, we picked a bud, and enjoyed some homegrown. As I recall, it was 6 plants. Our little harvest probably saved us $100. So, we saved up our money and bought some higher-end grass. He grew at least a dozen plants off of what we had already, plus what we purchased. We were rolling. Rather than buying grass to smoke, we were buying it for the seeds. Within 6 months, we were able to support our own personal desires, plus that of some friends. I don't know how many plants we were growing in his yard, but it was at least 2 or 3 dozen, probably more. So, my friend wasn't the greatest student, but he was not stupid. He really got into the science of growing plants. This was pre-internet 80s. He read damn near every book in the high school library on botany and gardening. He went to local nurseries and asked questions. He learned how to cross-pollinate and splice. In less than a year, he became a subject matter expert in growing plants. So we had a surplus. Growing plants isn't without its costs. He decided to sell. At first it was just to friends. Then those friends started selling a little bit of his product. He needed to expand. He was making a few hundred a month and he had a bag of seeds. So he rented an apartment. While I'm sure he wasn't the first to do hydroponics, we used to joke that he was a pioneer. With the help of a friend who was 18, he rented a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. We filled it wall to wall with grass. 6 months later, he was bringing in around $1,000 in profit after paying rent and utilities on the apartment. A year after that, our senior year in high school, he had 2 houses rented that he used as grow houses. This is where the double life kicks in. First off, only me and 1 or 2 other people knew what he was doing. He only sold directly to a handful of people. He never fronted products. He did almost all of the harvesting and packaging himself, although I pitched in a lot. So, nobody at our school knew he was growing and selling thousands of dollars a month in grass. He drove the same Porsche Celica he had driven his whole time in school. He still lived at home with his mom. He had a part-time job washing dishes. He used to say half the guys he worked with were probably his customers. He's pretty sure he smoked his own grass on the back dock after work. The reason he never spent the money is because he was afraid to. He didn't want to draw attention to himself. He couldn't put it in the bank. He couldn't invest it. He couldn't use it without drawing suspicion. He had thousands of dollars in suitcases in his grow houses. Then he had an idea, to start a business. He started a lawn mowing business, and made his customers his customers. And he did it legit. He got a small business license and an ad in the yellow pages. He had an 800 number. Everything was hunky-dory. He was able to account for his income now. Slowly but surely, he trickled money into a bank account. He was laundering money. For the record, he didn't discover this on his own. He got the idea from reading a gangster novel, then it happened. He got a call from someone who legitimately wanted their lawn mowed. So he took the gig. He knew a ton about gardening and whatnot. So, he pulled some cash, bought some lawn equipment, a cheap used truck and a trailer. So, some elderly lady had one of the most successful drug dealers in our area mowing her lawn. We were 2 years out of school by now. I had gone off to join the army. His double life was in full swing. That first job led to another. Because it was really a front for his real business, he decided to charge the old lady a little less than what most lawn care people would charge. So, he got popular fast. He eventually hired a few guys. He upgraded equipment, expanded his services and hired more guys. As he earned more money through his lawn care business, he reduced the amount of effort he put into the grass, and he had hired help at this point. He had a payroll, so he put them on it. In a little less than a decade, he was completely legitimate. He had corporate contracts that included golf courses, municipal properties, and an HOA. Currently, he is a member of the local Chamber of Commerce, sponsors youth sports, and is a family man with 1 kid, a college graduate, 1 in school, and 1 on the way. He still smokes pot. His wife knows he sold grass in school, and that's how he financed his business, but nobody outside me and a few others know how extensive it got. He hasn't sold in maybe 25 or 30 years. Every now and then, he said he would love to go out to Colorado or someplace where it's legal and see if he could do it again, but in the open.